Cha 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 cha. Igbo kwezonu. Yeah. Oko nyamili nyamili. Koko nyamili nyamili. Koko nyamili nyamili. Koko nyamili nyamili. Igbole igbole. Igbo bunu ndamamihe. Igbole igbole. Igbo bunu ndamamihe. Ebulianyelu anamabara na ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke anamabara nụ n'ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike koko nyamini nyamini koko nyamini nyamini koko nyamini nyamini koko nyamini nyamini hey cha 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 Igbo kwezonu yeah. Igbo kwezonu yeah. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ọrụ aka ha. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ihe aka ha. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ọrụ aka ha. Ụmụ Igbo ndị anyị nwere omenala dowe n'azụ were omenala ndị ọzọ bulie elu. Ndị anyị nwere omenala Igbo dowe n'azụ were omenala ndị ọzọ bulie elu. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke na ọ dịrọzi mma. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke ọ dịrọ mma. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke na ọ dịrọzi mma. Hey, ụmụ Igbo. Ndewo. Good morning. Ụtụtụ ọma nọ, mma mma nọ. Ụbọchị taa dị egwu. Taa ka anyị na-celebrate ndị nna. Today is Father's Day. So we are celebrating our fathers, our dads, our adopted dads, our bonus dads, whatever dad you have in your life, we are celebrating them today. I am your host, Dr. Onyoha Osimiri. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this awesome event today. I'm wishing you, I would like to start by wishing you all a happy Juneteenth. For those of you who don't know, Juneteenth takes place annually on June 19th and marks the true end of slavery in the United States. The holiday is officially recognized in 48 states. And last year, President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, making the day a federal holiday. So in addition to celebrating Father's Day, we are also celebrating Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth to all of you. Just to expand a little bit more, it is a holiday that is observed when slaves in Galveston, Texas, were finally informed of their freedom upon the arrival of federal troops on June 19, 1865. This was 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation and about 2 months after the end of the Civil War. So all over the United States, there's much celebration, and indeed we should celebrate. We are not just physically independent, we are mentally, or we should all be mentally independent as well. Of course, today we are celebrating our dads, our fathers, our special men in our lives. Chiism Godianism dedicates today's program to fathers everywhere. We are opening it up for everyone to give a shout out, comments to your father, your bonus father, your ancestral fathers, for what they mean to you. We ask people to send a picture of themselves with their fathers, type some sentimental words, or send a video that we shall share on the show. Doesn't matter your religious affiliation, we all share the same sentiments for our fathers, regardless of who we are. I'm going to begin today by asking all of you to just take a quiet moment so that we can ask for blessings for our fathers. Sit quietly wherever you are, wherever your special place is, and ask for these favors for your father. I say, dear Chineke, thank you for the fathers in our lives. Please bless those fathers who have endeavored to offset the demands of work, matrimony, and children with a sincere appreciation of both pleasure and surrender. Chineke Ainarogu, please bless those fathers who did not have a good model for a father, but have worked so hard to become worthy and virtuous fathers. Chineke Ainasigi Biko, your blessings for those fathers who, by their own account, were not always there for their children, but who continue to offer those children, now grown, their love and support. As well, let us pray for those fathers who have been wounded by words and actions of their children. Today, we ask Chineke to bless those fathers who, despite marital discord, have remained in their children's lives. Chineke, please heap blessings upon those fathers whose children are adopted and whose love and support has nurtured a thriving life. We ask for blessings for those fathers who, as stepfathers, freely want the commitment of fatherhood and have won their stepchildren's love and respect. Please, Chineke, bless those fathers who have lost a child to death and continue to keep the child in their heart. Please bless those men who have no children, but cherish the next generation as if they were their own. Today, we remember all those grandfathers and uncles and brothers and cousins, teachers, pastors, and coaches, and the women of our families who have helped fill the void when the fathers pass early or are absent. Please bless those men who have fathered us in their role as mentors and guides. Chineke, please bless those men who are about to become fathers. May they openly delight in their children. And let us remember those fathers who have died but live on in our memory and whose love continue to nurture us. With me today are my co-hosts, Dibia Chwaja Yudi Onyoha. Let's bring him in. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. I'm ready. I'm ready for the food, for the attention that I'm getting from my kids and my wife. I'm ready for the attention I'm going to be getting on this show. I can't wait. I'm telling you, man, it's all love up in here. I'm glad to be a father, at least for one day anyway.
My husband, I was supposed to bring him in at this time, but he's at the store. The washer broke down, so he had to go and buy a new washer.
Oh Lord, that's terrible.
So he's kind of absent, but we will speak about him along with all the rest of the fathers. And of course, adding to the stream is Mona. Hello.
Oh, there we are. How you all doing? How you doing, Father?
Happy Father's Day to you.
Well represented. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And happy Father's Day to Uncle, and happy Father's Day to all of the men, whether they're great or whatever they've done in this world.
Yes, absolutely.
Happy Father's
Day.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to add a special guest today, Akachi Azubike, because she's going to on behalf
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Yes. And then we have members of the participants saying Happy Father's Day to you guys. So this is Namdi saying Happy Father's Day. Uchenna Charles, Ukunna Charles, I'm sorry, saying Happy Father's Day. And let's see who else. They're coming in. And then Emeka, Happy Father's Day. So anyway, we have the Jamus are going to be with us for just half an hour. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak. But before we do that, we have to certainly honor his Holiness, behind KOK Onyoha, who is definitely without him, this will not be possible at all. Our honorable ancestor, Anyahan KOK Onyoha. It is indeed an honor to have this man as my father. He is, you know, what is so special about my dad, and I just want to bring his, there he is. What is so special about my dad is that he's obviously he's a propounder of Chiism Godianism, you know, but he was such an awesome father. He saw the world as a big place with a nook and cranny for everyone, with unlimited amount of blessings. He never saw a poor man. He never saw a poor woman. Everybody was the greatest African of the 21st century. And one of the things that I loved about him as a father is that he encouraged his children to soar as high as they dared, regardless of gender. Reminded us that from us to Chineke, there is no distance. My dad had a great sense of humor, and I'll share that with you.
Yes.
You know, my dad, whenever he'll visit, he'll come and see my children, where he comes to see the children, the grandchildren. He, you know, after all the excitement has died down a little bit, he'll call them together. He says, well, you know what? I brought a mighty gift for you. And the children will say, what? He says, I bought a big cow all the way from Nigeria to share with you. But guess what? The customs officer seized it at the airport. You know, sort of like the big fish that got away. You know, and the kids used to love it. So they were always asking, where are the cows? And he reminded them again that the customs officer seized it again. It's all at the airport. We have to go and get it. You know, so he was such a loving dad. You know, he gave me some of the most fantastic refrain. The only thing greater than you is the sun. Never live anywhere unknown and never die until you have made a difference in the world, even if it means that you're just making an effort. So my father, Nandi, I'll come to you eventually to words about dad. But let me give the Ajamuza an opportunity to say something about this wonderful gentleman, Ashiki Ajamu. Go on, Dr. What do you have to say about the awesome?
I would say, first of all, I would like to thank, you know, I would like to just say Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers, all of the ancestor fathers. I thank your father, Your Excellency, Dr. Uwa, and Uncle Dibia. I thank your father, and I honor him for bringing forth Godianism, and finding Godianism is so important, especially at this time. And I just would like to give thanks to him for that. This is awesome, and that's pretty much what I would like to do, is just give thanks to all of the fathers, and would like to honor them at this moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, I have a story to tell about the Honorable King. One time, the king came to my mother's house, and I think I was about 14, 15. And believe me, I was acting up. So my mom was like, she sent me upstairs. I was acting up. So I was really acting up. She didn't threw the, what was that? We walked down the stairs. So the king looks at me and said, oh, so this is Ashiki. It's so funny. And then I was embarrassed, but at the same time honored. It's funny because I didn't want anybody to see that I was acting up. And then above anybody, it was the king that I was acting up in front of. You know?
You know,
he just looked at me and then he said, this is Ashiki, and he just laughed. You know, so
that's just him. That's just his nature. Ashiki, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you. And I want to say that on behalf of your mom, because I'm your mom now that your mom's not here. I want to say Happy Father's Day, the way you love those babies. They look like you.
Yes.
The combination of both of you, the rascally little things. But the joy that they must experience having you as their father. And the joy your mother must have felt you making her a grandmother.
Oh yeah.
So happy Father's Day. And I know she is smiling where she is and just libations where she is. And
yes.
That's what she's doing. So well, happy Father's Day to you. Yes.
I would also like to give a special Father's Day to Ashiki. My husband Ashiki Ajamu. He is an excellent father. We're very close and family oriented. He always likes to be around the family. Family is very important, and we're always together. And so he's always, like you said, the kids look just like him, and also with like Nana, and he's a great father. He's a great father, dedicated.
Look at him blushing over there.
We're like stuck, together. So it's always when we're doing something, we're trying to have the whole family involved. And Shiki enjoys having the family at all, most of the time, with the children. It's great. I just thank him for being who he is and being such a wonderful father.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
And I want to welcome Dibia Chiedozie. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Celebrating you guys today.
That's beautiful.
Dibia, can you hear us?
Happy Sunday to all of you.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Okay, madam.
Salute.
Oh,
happy Father's Day.
There you go.
I want to move this along by
I catch him.
Okay.
There you go.
It's my Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
I want to say happy Father's Day.
The women, happy Mother's Day in arrears.
Yes, okay.
Right.
Okay, I want to say a happy Father's Day to my husband. He's not here. When I asked Chineke to bless those fathers who did not have a good model for a father, but have worked to become worthy and virtuous fathers, Ikenna was on my mind. Chief Ikenna has always strived to be the support system in the family, always available to offer advice, fix things, or just support, or just work in the background to help in any way. If you needed to know anything, forget Google. Just ask him. The man knows everything. I don't remember, and I've been married for 46 years.
Wow.
I don't remember a day that we had anybody come to the house to fix anything.
Wow.
Not for me, not for the house, not for the children. He fixed
awesome.
He can fix cars, he can fix electricity, I mean, he can fix anything. Anything. Wow. You name it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful to have this man. 46 years in my life, in sickness and in health. And in the lives of our children for all their lives. He's not perfect by a long shot. Nobody's perfect. No man is perfect. But for what he has been, for what he has strived to be, I wish him a happy Father's Day.
Yes.
Yes, that's beautiful. You got me tearing up.
Huh?
I said, you got me tearing up. It's a good thing I'm a guy. I'll be born
his children are supposed to write something for him. I'm supposed to read it. I'm waiting for it. But in the meantime, I will go to Yudi.
Yes.
My brother Yudi is an exceptional dad. He's a super dad as far as his children and bonus sons are concerned. To me, he's a wonderful, wonderful dad, always concerned about the welfare of his children, willing them to stay in school and be the best they can be. He reminds me of my dad, who prompted us that going to school is not a choice, but a mandate.
Yes.
Talk about his son, you know, what he tells his son, you know, you don't have any options. You're going to school. And daughter, and they're doing so very well. And I just want
Yes.
you to know that I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for being an
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
my niece Amani and nephew Emeka. Let me share something that your wife wrote.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if
I didn't know you. Wow. Okay, I'm blushing already.
Your wife said, "Happy Father's Day to my very wonderful and loving husband, Yudi. Thank you for giving me new reasons to smile. Thank you for giving the best of you in the worst of times. I am so proud of you for being such a caring and a very good and exceptional father. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. I love you, honey, forever, my dear."
Oh,
That is special. That is so special.
oh, sweet. Yeah.
Okay. And do anyone have anything to say to Yudi?
Oh yes, happy Father's Day, Uncle. And thank you for all that you do. And stay strong,
Thanks
because
for being
you
the
will
best
make
father in the
strong
whole wide
people.
world, like my
Thank
little
you.
daughter says.
And I would
Somebody
also like to
sent this to
say,
me.
What is that?
That's my little baby, 9-year-old.
Oh,
Says, Happy
oh,
Father's Day. We wish you Happy Father's Day. May you live long and be joy and have a joyful life. Happy Father's Day. That's
Oh,
my
beautiful,
little daughter.
beautiful, beautiful. Let me just say this. First of all, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You know, to all those people holding it down and trying to do the best they can. You know, well, by no means perfect. I'm by no means perfect, but I go by the creed that I have a duty, not just to my children, but all the young people out there, to try to continue this fight for the emancipation of the African mind.
yes.
You know, what we do here on this show, with Dr. Chido's here, as and Chifike Nosimiri, as the fathers on this show on a consistent basis. And for you too, Ashik, it's just important that we remain focused. It's not easy. We're not just fathers to our own kids. We're fathers to all the young folks out there.
Yes.
It's a duty that we owe to all the youngins out here, that we pass this wisdom on to them, just like our fathers did to us. As a matter of fact, I wrote a little something, for my dad, very short. And I said, Happy Father's Day to my father. Come on your the greatest African who ever lived, in my opinion. Thank you, Dad, for being my greatest inspiration. I'm kind of tearing up a little bit. My mind is free. I have self-love as a Black man, as an African, as a husband, as a father to my beautiful children, as a friend to many, and as a man grounded in dignity and love for my primordial culture. I will continue your fight for the total emancipation of the African mind until we truly overcome. May you resurrect, reincarnate, greater still. And that's how I feel about everybody that is in this fight for the emancipation of the African man, because we're not just fathers to our own children.
yes.
We're fathers to all the young generation, or the younger generation out there, that need us to enlighten them so they could chart a better path for themselves.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have Namdio Simiri has a salute for his dad. He says, a salute to my father. I'm honored to have one in my life. Not too many have had the privilege to have either had one or still have them in their lives. And I have not only that privilege, but showing me how to be one. To my uncle Yudi, I salute you for being you and always showing how to live up to the title of not just father, but dad. Thank you both. Oh, that's wonderful, Nandi. Oh my goodness. Now there's another one for Ikenna. And this is from his daughter, my daughter, Kelena, in Florida. Happy Father's Day to my dad, Ikenna Osimiri. I appreciate him more and more as I get older. I've come to understand that he has done everything he needed to as a father to ensure that I am an individual who can walk out into the world and achieve my endeavors. King of all trades, there is nothing out there that he won't seek to understand. And not only is he an incredible resource, but a great example of what it means to seek out knowledge and truth without limitation. I love you, Dad. Oh, it says here, I don't know if there's supposed to be something else, but that's wonderful. Thank you. Oh, I wish I was here to how awesome is that? Thank you. Thank you for sharing that about your dad. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. And then I have another one. This time, Akachi.
Can't wait for this one. I'm waiting.
Akachi sent me to share this. Akachi sent me a picture of her when she was a little tiny baby and her dad.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Back down to when she was a tiny little person. And that's her dad. Your dad is handsome. And I understand you have something you want to share. So I'm going to remove the rest of us so you can spend this moment with your dad. Go ahead. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Oh, wow. So, my dad passed when I was 4 years old. And so Father's Day is it's an interesting day, to say the least. I'm grateful for my dad and everything that I've learned about him. And I think it's important to for the people who lost their dads young, to know that you can still learn about your dad through your family, through, your dad's parents and siblings, and that's an important journey that I've taken to know, like how I'm like him, because I don't remember him. I don't have any memory. So, like my grandfather, I realize I'm like my dad in a lot of ways. Adventuresome, like my sense of humor, being silly, my idea of wanting to travel and going places, and my passion, my fiery nature, like all of these things, I got from my dad, and so much more. And I just think that it's important to the people who may have lost their dads young, to know that you can still know your dad by knowing yourself and by knowing, who raised him and his friends, and, like I said, his siblings. And so I'm grateful to my father, because he's definitely revealed himself and protected me, and has been a guide and a guardian over my life, in so many ways. Like when I've had questions or didn't know which way to go, he's helped, let me know, no, don't go that direction, go this direction, or, move away from that guy, go to this part, just he's been there, and I felt his presence since I was young, like basically my entire life. And I'm also grateful for my stepfather, Paul Maston, my father, by the way, Frederick Raphael Hamer. I'm grateful for my grandfathers and all my village fathers, because Baba Fanab, Baba Jabata, Bobby Faladay, my uncles. So all the fathers, happy Father's Day to all of you. Uncle Udi, like just all the fathers. I feel your fatherly energy when I speak with you, and I'm just appreciative to all the village fathers in my life.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
That was great. That was really sweet. Thank you. That was really nice.
Absolutely.
That was nice.
Yes.
it's
Very nice.
wonderful. It's really wonderful when young people appreciate not just their birth fathers, but all those other people around them, their bonus fathers. That's what they are. Not
Takes a
necessarily,
village.
it takes a village to raise a child. So the village is doing a good job when that child, in the absence of the father, is doing very well. You see what I'm saying? So yes, your father may not be here, but obviously in the spirit world, he's still with you.
Yes.
He's still guiding you. When you feel, there's sometimes that when the ancestors, those who are no longer with us, sometimes you just feel their presence. You can walk into a room and go, hi dad, or hi mom, and you don't know why you're saying that, but because that presence is still there. You know what I'm saying? Or that little whisper in your ear, and you call somebody, did you say something to me? And they say, no, I didn't say anything. I say, oh, that was mom talking, or that was dad talking. And, so they're always with us. Not physically always, but certainly spiritually. So thank you for sharing your dad and your story with us. All right.
That was beautiful.
I'm waiting. Emeka, come on. I'm putting pressure on you. Send me my note for dad. I don't know what he's
I'm waiting. You think you're waiting? I'm waiting.
You better get with it. I'm looking for what you sent because he was going to send it. I don't know if he sent it somewhere else.
I'm waiting. That's for sure.
Chiadozie, let me say, Chiadozie has. Chiadozie, where are your children? Do you have any of your children there? Chiadozie.
Oh yeah, Uzo is here.
Uzo, yes. Uzo
is here.
Uzo, how you doing? There you go.
Hey, how are you? What you want to tell us about your father? Tell us something about your dad. Tell us something about your dad. This is Father's Day.
Come and say something about your dad.
He's a father.
He's a good man. He knows what he wants and how to get it. He's a go-getter. Everything. He encourages all of us to achieve what we want to achieve. Irrespective of tough times, he keeps hoping. He's a loving person, kind, sometimes strict. Everything goes on well. He's a good person. He's a good father.
Oh, that's
great.
Wonderful.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Okay. He's blushing over there. Look at him. I'm a proud father.
Yes, I'm blushing.
They give us, it's like Mother's Day, they give us this one day. And then like Father's Day, they give us this one day. But, we are so much more than that. We are so much, fathers are just so much more than that. I saw at Walmart, I went to Walmart, and this African-American gentleman was with his daughter. And she must be maybe probably no more than 2 years old. And she's wandering everywhere. And, he got on his knees. He just looked at me. He says, isn't she just precious? Isn't she worth all of this? And he was tearing up watching this little lady wandering all over the place. He was just on his knees and he says to me, isn't she just precious? Isn't she just worth all of this? I say, yes, she is. Yes, she is. That's what makes Dad special.
I remember, because this is not my first time around. I've been married before. And I remember when my daughter was, before my daughter was born, I had separated, and I'm just telling this from the heart. First time being a dad, I had separated, but I wasn't divorced yet. And I remember I was attending DeVry University at that time, studying computer information systems after my little strides with marine biology. And there was this room that my ex wanted to turn into a nursery for the baby. And this room is huge. I mean, it's like maybe 2 times the size of a master bedroom. It's just large, big house, just big, huge. So I had moved out. I'm on my own, you know what I'm saying, my own apartment and all that. But there's this big house that we have bought, and she wanted me to paint Sesame Street characters because I'm an artist. Not a professional, but I'm pretty damn good. I am very good, if I may say so myself. I wish I had the picture of my daughter's drawing that I had made. It's really fantastic. But anyway, so do you know that through the course of the pregnancy, I painted life-size characters of every single character on Sesame Street?
Wow.
From Big Bird to Oscar to Snuffleupagus, whatever the name is. I painted all across the wall for 9 months.
Wow.
Just to welcome my first baby.
Wow.
That was till today. I love my children and all that, but that is my greatest experience as a dad. A first child, and the 9 months that I spent painting Sesame Street characters, that when the baby comes, the baby will be surrounded by all these Sesame Street characters. And it was just the most fantastic thing that I've ever done in my life. And I don't think I would ever do anything that will match experiencing the birth of my first child and drawing those characters. So I just wanted to put it out there. That was the height of it for me.
Yes.
So what about you?
You know what? Emeka sent some pictures. I'm going to show it in a little bit while you guys are talking, but she did, write something in addition to his favorite pictures of him and his dad from Amani. This is what your daughter Amani wrote.
Oh, okay.
Amani wrote, "Dear Dad, thank you for showing me that the only thing greater than me is the sun." Yes!
Yeah, I would say that's right.
So you shared that with her. Yes.
Yeah.
And she says, "I love you so much, your darling daughter, Amani." Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
That's one a nice one. Somebody say nice one. And then Emeka said this about you, Yudi. He says, "Dad could mean many things to different people: a protector, a teacher, or a mentor. My dad was all of those things, and a wise one at that. You are appreciated even if you are not given materialistic things. You are appreciated through actions because actions speak louder than words. Much love, your son, Emeka." Oh,
nice.
You feel better
Love
now?
that. Love that.
And
love
we
that.
have so many pictures. I'm still going to share that with you. But now I'm going to ask the dads. Yes.
We're gonna, unfortunately, we have to leave.
Yes, I know.
But I apologize. Happy Father's Day to Uncle
Thank you.
Judy and Chidozie. Happy Father's Day to you, and I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day. And
thank you.
Just have a wonderful Father's Day. You're excellent fathers. You're my spiritual fathers, and I thank you so much for all of your knowledge and mentorship, to help me along my journey. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for being part of the family.
Right before you leave,
Yes.
just tell us very briefly, quickly, what does fatherhood mean to you?
Oh wow. What fatherhood means to me is wow, it's indescribable. Because it's something that you have to do as as a man. So it's undescribable. It's just like someone is saying, "Well, what is a woman?" You can't describe it. It's who you are. It's your essence. It's your makeup. It's your being. And that's what it has been for me. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to raise my kids with a loving mother and a great mother. And it's just something that every man should experience. It's just that experience of true creation,
Yes.
universal creation for us all. And we wouldn't be here without both male and women. And
Yeah.
to raise someone in the times that we've been living in constantly is just amazing.
Yes.
And thank you. And thank you all. And thank you, my uncles, for the guidance and everything that everyone has given to me as males and what I've given back as a male and as a man to
Yes.
other children and other fathers as well.
Yes.
Many blessings and thank you.
Okay.
And last,
And have a happy Father's Day. Enjoy your day. Thank you
I
for
just wanted,
showing up. I know you had a crazy schedule today, but
yes,
Yes.
so
I
thank
just wanted,
Go ahead.
okay, I just wanted to say one thing because I didn't mention my father at all.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, I'm thankful for my own father. He's a wonderful, wonderful father. He taught me, he realized his goals. I grew up and he was striving for his goal of being a Division I basketball coach. He achieved that, and he's retiring this year after 30 years. And I'm so proud of him. And he's put it inside of me that I can achieve anything that I put my work and my heart and my effort into. And so I just thank him for being the person he is and being also the father of the community. He's been the father to so many people that did not have a father there with them. So I would just like to thank him before we leave.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Take care.
Beautiful.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Yes.
Yes.
Many blessings. Happy Father's Day.
Happy
All right.
Father's
All
Day.
right.
Okay.
Thank you for having us
Bye-bye.
on.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I want to ask Chiedozie and Dibia Ochoaja, what does it mean? We'll start with you, Chiedozie, Dibia Chiedozie. What does it mean to you when somebody says, when you say I'm a father? What does that mean? What's the essence of being a father? From the Igbo perspective, let's use that. Can you hear me? You have to okay. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Sure. I'm sorry. I have a lot of activities going on here, so I
Okay.
wasn't sure because I wasn't sure that if I should go first.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. For me, from my little knowledge of Igbo family, I think the man that's father represents the sun or the sky, Igwe, while the mother represents the earth. And in another way, we can also look at it from the two main bodies that influence our life here on earth, the moon and the sun. So we can say the sun is like more like this, the male is like more, father is more like the sun, the woman like the moon. And so the earth gives us sukkah, fertility. The sun gives us virility. And so the sun has spies because the earth has everything already, like the woman has everything already. But all that the man does is to add that little semen that brings out the spark. So the earth has everything, but the sun provides that spark, that illumination. And that is what the father's role should be, making sure the way Igwe, the sky, envelopes the earth, protects the earth. That's how you protect the family. And then the way the sun provides succor to the earth, that's how you provide for the family. However, we must understand that we live in a world of reciprocity, and our own word of reciprocity is that of complementarity, by which we say, that is to say, when the right hand and the left hand are washed together, then the hands are clean. And so the man should not fool himself that in this job he can do it alone. He needs the cooperation, the support, the understanding of the family. Yes, when I was younger, and because of the background I came from, it was like I could go it alone. I operated with the maxim, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But I got to a point I had to realize that if you really want to go far and fast, far before you talk about fast, you have to go together. That is to say, the man must first and foremost seek the understanding, cooperation of his spouse, his wife, make her his companion in the family business, so that she can be the true manager while the man is the director. And all that you direct is that you direct from the rear as also as you direct from the front. You have to be a very matured person. Oftentimes, we do know that, yes, there are some off points, but the onus falls on the man. It behooves on the man to always take responsibility and say, it is my fault, because you, the captain of the ship, you steer the ship and make sure the ship is well steered and it doesn't sink. And even when it has problem, we mend it. And this mending is not only that of the father, it's that of the father, the wife, the family, the children. And that is what fatherhood is all about. So that's how my own little understanding from the Igbo perspective. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. That
Yeah,
is awesome.
it's a very
absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Yudi? What does it mean to you?
Mbono Traja. So I'm going to speak from a spiritual, understanding of fatherhood. First of all, Chineke, male and female essence of the creator. Chi, male, Eke, female. One cannot exist without the other. When you talk about divine manifestation of creation, life is about a male and a female aspect of existence. There are two organisms in the world that I understand biologically that are asexual. That's a paramecium and an amoeba. We as human beings are spiritual entities. And being spiritual, we have certain spiritual divine obligation as men, and that is procreation, and the woman as your partner. Chi, male, Eke, female, go hand in hand. One is not greater than the other. They're complementary. It takes two to tango. Being a father is also understanding the importance of your partner as a divine entity, as part of the, the wonder of creation. Being a father is just not getting somebody pregnant and then backing off. Even the lion doesn't do that. Your responsibility as a man is to make sure that the children that you bring into this world are guided by your wisdom, by her wisdom, to become productive parts of a society. A child is better able to contribute to the community when the mom and the dad are present in that child's life. It's very important. It minimizes their struggle. It minimizes the challenges they have mentally in trying to decipher the riddle of life. Being a dad is to be present, to be there, to be loving to your family, to your wife, to always be the voice of reason. I'm calm. Women are very emotional creatures. There's a divine reason for that. A lot of people say, oh, women are too emotional. Oh, they talk too much. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Say what you may about a woman. As a man, it is your duty to understand that the characteristics of womanhood is divine. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for everything that manifests itself in this world. And it is your duty as a man, as a father, to understand the divine relevance of human behavior, the divine relevance of the characters of your children. And if you're present, you'll be able to observe your children. You'll be able to see what direction each child, is going to head off to. You understand what their limitations are. You understand what they are blessed with. You understand their ikenga, their talent. To be a man is to observe your family and decipher the problems that come within or come up within a family, and be the voice of reason, be the strength that is needed, play your divine role as a father, as a husband, so that when you are no more, your offsprings, even your wife will say, boy, when he was here, he was great. He did his job. To be a man truly is to understand your divine responsibility to procreate and continue the generations after you. You may be a millionaire. You may be successful on your job, big mansions, big cars, have everything material that you need in the world. But if you don't play your role, your divine role as a procreator and as a father, as far as I'm concerned personally, you have truly failed. So love yourself, love your wife, and love your children in that order. That's it. And we'll continue the conversation till she comes in. I miss my father. I really do. I think about my dad a lot. And I just don't think about him in the context of him being my father. But I also think about him in terms of his contribution to Nigeria's independence. A lot of people don't know that history. And, he's not in the textbooks like a lot of these people are. And mostly because he wasn't Christian, he wasn't Muslim, he wasn't towing the boat, So he didn't fit the narrative that those people that wanted a specific narrative to be put out there, he didn't fit that narrative. He was an Africanist. He was a Pan-Africanist. He believed that through African spiritual tenets, understanding that all human systems are products of religion, and through this understanding, we could create a society that is primordial to us, that we all understand because it's part of our makeup, it's part of our culture. And if we create a society based on this understanding, then it's not as difficult as it is for us right now to keep up with the 20th century, let alone the 21st century. And here comes the pictures of me and my babies.
I put that there so that while you're talking, it'll pop out.
Yeah, but that's what I live for right there, man. That's what I live for. That's my responsibility. My daughter is very successful, master's degree in political science, and she is the chief information officer, and a chief operating officer for political action company running out of Dallas, Texas, that takes care of all the political campaigns for the Democratic Party, all over the country. Whether you're running for Senate, whether you're running for local elections, county offices, presidency, the Congress, state governor, state Senate, state assembly. She is the chief operating officer for this company out of Dallas, Texas. and she's doing very well. She's a big shot, you know, and I'm so proud of her. I always told her right from when she was a little child, when she would come crying, you know, to me, she's having a problem or whatever, I always would tell her what my dad would say. There's nothing greater than you other than the sun. There's no challenge that you cannot overcome. The only limitations you have in life is the one that you put on yourself. If you think it and you put in the effort and you have the right strategy, you can do it. Those people that are successful don't have two horns. They only got one head, the same body, two hands, two legs, one brain, two eyes, two nostrils, two lips. What do they have that you don't have? It's all up here. And of course, my son is attending Kennesaw State University as a computer science major. You know, I call him my local genius. I love him. He's such a smart guy. He's such a good kid, and actually, you know, helps us out a lot when it comes to Chiism Live. He does a lot of the, you know, background things that, you know, people don't see. But if you watch the comments, sometimes you might see him as Akimi Bro. He's always there in the background, taking care of everything. So hopefully following his dad's footsteps, because our kids have the obligation to continue this fight for their future. You know, it's not about, oh, it's too difficult, you know, people are, I'm not going to get a job, people are going to listen to me, blah, 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 blah. Why bother? Let the next generation do it. So you defer and you defer and you defer. Can you imagine if the Nnamdi Azikiwes, the Martin Luther Kings, the Rosa Parks, the Nelson Mandelas, the Jomo Kenyattas, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Patrice Lumumbas, imagine if they had deferred it to the next generation. Imagine if the Martin Luther Kings thought that it was too hard to fight for the emancipation of the African American here in the United States or all over the world for that matter. Imagine if he just rested on his laurels. Well, I'm a preacher, I got a PhD, and that's it. Let somebody else handle it. We'll still be under subjugation. Imagine if the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwes, that Hank Keoke on your hands, just thought about just taking care of their family and let the next generation handle it. Imagine where we'll be right now. Imagine if all the people that fought for our freedom and our emancipation, the Rosa Parks, the Harriet Tubman, imagine if they just said, let the next generation handle it because the only obligation I have in life is to raise my family. Imagine where we'll be. Your obligation is beyond your nucleus family. It's not just about your children. It's not just about your family. It's about all of us. We have that obligation. Your neighbor's child is your child. You have an obligation to help them better their future by giving them the cultural identity necessary for this fight. Other cultures do it. The Jews do it. As a matter of fact, when you get to the age of 12, you have to go through their rites of passage called the Bar Mitzvah. We have a rites of passage in Africa too. All over the world, the different things that different cultures do to make sure that you embrace your culture, that you're indoctrinated into their way of life, because that is the only chance you have to fight in a world that really doesn't care about you, regardless of what your race is. The Europeans are not about to go help the Chinese do anything. The Chinese are not going to help the Japanese do anything. And the Japanese is not going to go help the South American do anything. The South Americans don't care to help you in Africa. Heaven help those who help themselves. We owe it to ourselves to help ourselves, because if we don't, nobody else would do it. So to all the fathers out there, your greatest obligation is not just about your nucleus family, but it is to make sure that, number one, you are part of the fight to emancipate the African mind, because only when we are grounded in our primordial core, only when we love ourselves, only when self-love is part of our creed,
yes,
can we truly overcome.
yes.
That's our mandate.
Yes, I want to share this. Recently was my husband's birthday, and we went to Florida to see my youngest girl. She's at the University of Florida, and she's studying. She's working on her PhD, and I'm trying to find this video. Can you imagine that?
It happens just when you need it.
Just when I need it, I'm trying to pull it up.
You never
But
fail.
while I'm doing that, Dozier, you know, we have there's a where is he? I lost him. In African tradition, the children, if you do something wrong, they'll ask you, "Ibumonye, whose child are you?"
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The question is, Ibumonye, whose child are you? That's how because you, as a father, you have a responsibility to make sure that your child is directed properly. So they will ask you, what's your father's name? Who is he? For you to act like this, who is he? That means he's not doing his job. It's not a matter of chastising the child for what the child is doing. It's, who's your father? If you act like this, then your father will ofeke matter. That means your father is useless. For you to act this way, your father is not raising you. Nah, it's not a joke. We don't just say father. And of course, unfortunately, we've gotten all these foreign influences, so that some of the sacredness of our roles, of the roles of the mothers, the roles of the fathers, some of that is being, diluted. You got fathers sitting all day long with their cell phone. They don't talk to the children, or they hand the children cell phones and things of that nature to work with. You tell us, while I try to get this information, share with us some of your greatest memories of Dad.
It's plenty. I can't even put. Okay, let me put it this way. When I graduated from high school, we're all getting older now. I graduated from high school in 1977. That's a long time ago. I'm in fact, in 2 weeks, I'll be 62 years old. So I'm getting up there. Thank God for that. I was my dad's personal chauffeur for almost 4 years out of high school. Actually, my senior year in high school, and then through high school during the holidays. And when I graduated in 77, from 77 till 1980, I came here in 1980. So for 3 years plus, I was his personal chauffeur. I drove him all over the country. Sometimes we'll drive, 600 miles all the way to the north, to go take care of the business. He was a successful businessman, owned an oil company, and also had a business with Southwestern Petroleum Corporation in Fort Worth, Texas. So I was pretty much his right-hand man. And the time that I spent with my dad, the 3 years that I spent with my dad driving him all over Nigeria, he could afford a chauffeur and all that. I actually had one. We ended up driving my mom more than him. It was almost like he wanted to keep an eye on me, because I was one of those kids that if you looked at me the wrong way, I got in a fight. And so his way of keeping an eye on me was to have me with him at all times. Because I had a reputation, especially I was into martial arts and Kung Fu and all that. So it was almost like I needed to practice on somebody. So all you had to do was look at me cross-eyed and it was over for you. So I spent that time driving my father around, and everything that I know about life, everything that I know about African culture, everything that my dad did in those 3 years in Nigeria, I was there. I was in the same room when they had a meeting, which to me is my probably most memorable moment. There was a meeting back in 1978 in Enugu at the Presidential Hotel. And it was a meeting of the Igbo leaders of thought. And in that meeting, the Oparas, the Mbadiwes, the Zik was there. All the greatest Igbo leaders were there. And I was able to sit in the same room with the first president of Nigeria, all those people that we looked upon as gods, as the fighters, as the leaders of Nigeria, as the core of Igbo leadership. I was in a meeting with them. I was 18 years old. I was just sitting there, just observing. The greatest memory I had with my dad was those 3 years that I drove him around Nigeria, because I spent time with him in the village. I remember 3 o'clock in the morning, my dad is with a dibia, a traditional doctor, medicine man in the village, talking about culture, traditional medicine, whatever. And I'm sitting in the car at 3 o'clock in the morning, outside, waiting. He gave me the discipline that I needed. I understood what he had to do to gain the knowledge that he had. Yes. My father would go anywhere, especially when it has to do with anything that is cultural, traditional. He went all over Igbo land. He would go to Benin. I'll go to Benin with him. It's 2:30 in the morning. He's in some village in Benin, in some traditional medicine man's hut somewhere. And I'm sitting in the car waiting. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the greatest story that I could ever tell you about my dad was the 3 years that I spent driving him around, because in those 3 years, I understood my responsibility as a Black man. I understood that I just didn't owe it to the family or myself to have my own nuclear family. It was in those 3 years that I understood that my duty as a Black man went beyond just having a nucleus family, that it was my responsibility to help to emancipate the African mind and continue the fight, pass it on to the next generation, because it is a fight, it's a struggle that is going to have to continue until we truly overcome, until self-love becomes part of how we do business as Black folks. You got to love yourself. You got to love everything about you, and those things that are imperfect, accept it, because the world is not perfect. Nobody is perfect. If you have imperfections and you have the ability to correct it, correct it. I learned all these things from my father in the 3 years that I drove him around, to understand that my duty goes beyond just my duty to the Onyoha family, but to Black people all over the world.
Yeah, excellent. And you know what? I just want to share this with you guys. I don't know how your parents disciplined you. Akachi, you didn't know your dad, so he probably disciplined you somewhere until you were 4 years old, I'm sure, but you don't remember that. But Chiedozie, I'm not sure the kind of disciplinarian you are. But I tell you about my father. My father will not spank you. He didn't believe in that.
Yeah, he
did not believe in that. But he will play your mind. He will straighten you out by playing on your mind. I remember, my mom was the one that loved to spank you, you know. And then after the spanking, you get over it, and you go about your business. But he knows that dad doesn't spank, but dad has a way of twisting your mind and making you understand that what you did is wrong. So she'll send you to dad's office, because dad had an office in the lower level of our home. And he's always writing. Dad was always writing. And then you go into the office, the door, you meekly open the door, and there he is. And once you walk in, he takes his glasses down and he stares at you, and he chews. All his glasses were all chewed off. The tip of it.
The tip of it.
Because he was such a deep thinker, he would take the glasses off, and as he's thinking, he's chewing the tip of his glasses, always buying new glasses. But nonetheless, you open that door, and he'll see you, and he'll point to the chair, and he'll ask you to go and sit. And then you go and sit, and he'll put his glasses back on. And he goes, and as he's writing, he's repeating to, he's reciting to himself what he's writing. So you're sitting there and you're hearing him going, whatever it is he was talking about. And now you are squirming, right? Okay, you've been here for half an hour, 40 minutes. Dad hasn't said anything to you. And now you're trying to get his attention. Like, if you're going to whip me, do this. I got to go play. But no, he'll sit you there. Now and then he'll take the glasses off. He'll peer at you again. And he'll put his glasses on. And then he'll shake his head. He said, hey, Agwamuloku. Agwamuloku. And he's a lion, right? And he says that the lion has given birth to the lamb. You are the lamb. Look at me, I'm the lion. How did I end up with a lamb? So he put his, and you're sitting there, what did he just say? Did he just call me a lamb? So after a while, he still wouldn't say anything. No spanking, nothing. He'll just finally, now you've been there an hour and maybe an hour and a half. You're exhausted mentally, wondering what is he going to do. Then he'll shoo you away. He'll say, go. You don't know what his issues are. He didn't spank you. You're free to go. You run out. Mom grabs you and says, what did your dad say? I said, I don't know. He says, She said, you didn't get it, did you? I said, no. Something about I'm the lamb or something. She says, did you get what he's saying? He's a lion. And he has given birth to a lamb. And a lamb can be devoured by other lions. So you're a big disappointment to him. That's what he's telling you. Now, let me tell you, I spent the rest of my life trying to please him to show him that he gave birth to a lioness. That's his sense of discipline. He just brings you down to where, where the goat can get it, where you understand it without putting a hand on you. The greatest discipline that I got came from Dad. He didn't lay a finger on me.
I just want to add to that, right?
He just said that. And the other thing is, if you bring a good grade, oh my God, the celebration. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was a young child, I was silly. I didn't care about no education. Never mind, I have 2 PhDs today. But at that time, I couldn't care less. I didn't care about education. I hated school. I hated my teachers. So I just went to school to just sit. Everybody's making A's and I'm failing. I was the child that Divya, you know how we grade.
Yeah.
We had 36 students in the class. I was always the 35th or the 34th, or maybe the 36th. That's how.
Second to last.
I was a terrible student. Not because I was dumb. I didn't care. I just didn't care, I just wasn't motivated by my teachers or anything like that, so I didn't care. So, but one time I came home and I was the 34th out of 36. Dad was so disappointed. He was so disappointed. He looked at my report card, looked at it, and he put it on the table and just walked away. And I stood there like an idiot. I knew I didn't do what I was supposed to do because all my sisters were first and second and third. And here I was, the 34th, I think it was the 35th. That means I was next to the last. I was the worst student in class. My sister felt sorry for me. When it was time to give the next report card, my sister said, well, you can't show, you know what happened last time. And this time I did even worse. I was the last student. My sister said, you can't give this to Dad. Dad's gonna kill you. You messed up again. So you know what she did? She changed my report card. Instead of giving me at least maybe the 15th in the class, she made me first. This is my sister. She was 15 years old. So she changed my report card and made me the first in the class. Well, needless to say, I was, I didn't care. But when I saw my dad's excitement that I was first over, the one that comes 31st, 36 is the first, you should have seen the excitement in the house. Dad was so happy. He was so proud. You know, you're gonna go places, and I'm sitting there feeling so foolish. I knew I wasn't the first, but the fact that that made him so happy and so proud of me. I've never worked so hard in my life. After that, I never came less than fifth in class. Never came less than that. I was determined to get to that first. That made him so proud. That Dad was proud if you came, if you were at least the 10th in class. That to come first, I stayed within the fifth after that. I couldn't disappoint him. That was the kind of disciplinarian he was. And then, of course, after that, as I got older, I became very, in tune with school, and here I am today, But that was the kind of dad I had. Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, I just want to add to what you were saying, because you brought something up and I just about cracked up. Dad would do the same thing where he talked about the fact that a lion has given birth to a lamb.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, you're like, 11, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Dad will bring you into the office. When mom brings you to the office, he won't say anything to you. He will be murmuring just like you're saying.
Yes.
Chewing his glasses. And then he'll look at you and then he'll sigh. And he'll continue. Then after a while, he'll tell you, your father is a great man. Listen to what I wrote. What do you think? There you go. The metaphysical dualism under the ontological structure of being. And I'm like, what the hell did he say? He has a 12-year-old kid. You're using all these big words. And he just sits there. You're going, what did he say? The meta who? Physical what? He will read the whole lecture to you. And then when he gets to reading it with lingo that you have no idea what he's talking about, then he will ask you, what do you think?
First, you're trying to understand the language. You don't understand what he's saying. Then he wants your opinion.
He wants your opinion, ask you, what do you think? And you're there like, hey.
I don't know.
Whatever you say, Dad, sounds good.
And he'll make you read it. He'll make you read it until you understood it, so that you can come back and tell him what he wrote.
You don't want to disappoint Dad.
You didn't
because
want to
he was so sweet. And I'd rather take a whooping from my mom, because after the whooping is over with, you end up with an ice cream or something. You get a hug, and you know how mothers are. Even though she just whooped you, but right after she whoops you, you get a hug and kiss over here and all of that. So it's like, man, but Dad can have you in his office all day long. You will not see your friends. You won't even eat. He will just be there reading his lectures to you, asking you, what do you think? What's your opinion? And then he will crown you with telling you, your father is a great man.
Well, do you agree?
Do you agree?
I want to share this. Jose, I'll come right to you. I wanted to share this. My daughter, we went to Florida to see Kelenda and for my husband's birthday, and he was so proud because she took us to her laboratory. She's working on her doctorate in microbiology and microbiology and cell science, but I think she's switching it to something else along the same lines, So when we went in there and saw all the work she was doing, all her professors and all that stuff, he was so proud, and to him, I'm the dad. I'm the father of this young woman who's going to be a doctor. All that stuff. He was so proud. You could, this was just throwing money all over. You giving us money. I said, hey. It was supposed to be his birthday, right? But he was just handing out cash like it was nothing. He was just so proud of himself for Adora. For Kelenda. And of course, he's proud of all his children. All of them have different different achievements. They all have their own different skills. So as a father, it has to make you very proud when you see your children achieving. So anyway, I just wanted to show that little picture of Kelly and her dad. Theodosia, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
Hey, we
you
just
know,
nothing serious. We're just
the
chatting
the
about
method KOK Onyoha used for you is the method of the traditional fathers.
yeah.
You involve the children in what you do so that they participate.
Uh-huh.
They may seem not to know or understand, but over time, it's encoding.
Yes.
And over time, they get to understand and they start picking up. Because in the king's palace, the king does not call the children to sessions and begin to give them special briefings,
Yes.
but they're always there by the side, going on errands, bringing one thing or the other, and they sit by the side. Even if when we read Things Fall Apart, we find that when the elders are going for the meeting, elders council, male, female, the children carry the chairs for them, and the
Yes.
children are playing by the side, and they are
Yes.
listening, and they are learning. So it was a pragmatic way of teaching.
Yes.
So it was just a very typical African elder.
And they didn't carry the phone. Have you been to a restaurant where you see the mother has a cell phone, the dad has a cell phone, all the children have cell phones. And then they're eating, they eat and they're reading. They don't talk to each other. You see, and so fathers should know how important they are in a child's life. You're so important, and it's imperative that you lead by example. You cannot expect children to be something you haven't taught them.
No.
Children are like sponges.
Yeah.
They watch. There's a monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
That's an expression. But when you look at the animals, the children are emulating what their parents are doing.
Sure.
That's what the animal in the animal kingdom. The little ones follow the little elephant follows the big elephants. To see what they're doing. The little cubs follow the lion and the lioness to see what they're doing. So that when they become men, no, not men. When they become
Adults.
grow up, they become what their parents are. You know what I'm saying? So when fathers, when a father gets angry that a child is not performing, or a child is not doing what the child is supposed to do, you need to ask yourself, what have you done? How have you contributed to the growth of that child? Have you been supportive verbally? Have you been there? Have you taken the child anywhere? Do you go out? Do you go on outings? Do you speak positivity in front of the child? What do you do with your child? As a dad, it's not enough to the child all the time, because the child is not doing. You have to ask yourself, look in the man in the mirror. What have I done to contribute to this child performing at this level if they should be performing better? Now, let me ask you, Akachi, who have you, now you mentioned several people in your life who have played the role of father. Who are these?
So,
in what way did they play the role of father?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I would say my grandfathers, first, James Lockett Jr. and Henry Hamer. My father, in many ways, was raised by his dad. So a lot of the characteristics that I look to in men, I get from, I guess, my dad by way of my grandfathers, and my stepfather's very much traditional in that same way, like just intelligent, hardworking, provider, knows how to fix it. Pretty much everything, supportive, just wow, just a lot. I mean, my grandfather, my dad's dad, I would say I learned a lot from him, in terms of he's a community, he's involved in the community, he's a pastor, so there's the spiritual lineage. And just, my dad my dad himself, he emulated his father in that he was a young husband and a father, and he was very proud and, took on those traditional roles, even though he passed young. But I also have community fathers, like the picture that I sent you with the two drum instructors, Baba Chabada, Baba Ifalade, and my now ancestor, Baba Ranyabaro Fana. These men have all played different roles in my life in terms of moving me towards understanding myself as an African and our culture and our traditions. Baba Fana took me to Africa. We went to Ghana, so that was my first trip home. And in fact, my grandfather went to like 3 African countries. So he was the first person who told me how important it was to go home. My dad's dad, he went to 3 countries and told me, he loves me and, tells me all the time my father would be proud of me or is proud of me, and how I'm like him in so many ways. And I mean, I guess I don't know. I could go on like they have been models of what men are to be in terms of the family and how they extend themselves in so many ways.
That's
I mean,
wonderful.
I could say a lot because
Yeah, I know. And it's important for people to know they are just these wonderful, wonderful people, aside from us, aside from our fathers who play a very important role. Dibia Chiedozie, do you have anyone that played that role for you aside from your dad?
Well, in the first instance, I would start by acknowledging my dad and my mom, because the two of them played significant roles in my life. Of all the children in the house, I don't know if I'm still the most stubborn. Without my dad, I don't think, and my mom, I don't think I would be where I am today. In fact, if I'm to pick another name, maybe that name will be Namdi. Because without my dad, he was hard, yes, tough man, disciplinarian. He was so meticulous that even in darkness, he could pick out his things. The tiniest pin had a position. If he missed by 1 ounce and he gets there and he doesn't get in the position, he will descend on you, because he got us when he was very young, and someone who had a military experience in the war, Biafra Nigerian war. So that thing was in his body, and he saw that I was going to be very stubborn, and so he took me anywhere he went to, just like a DB Charger. I lived most with my dad. Though I hated myself those days, but at the end of the day, that's why today I am the most focused of all of my father's children. And I remember what he used to tell me is that I'm going to bring you up and train you that if in the middle of the sea, you will innovate. In the air, you will survive. In the desert, you will survive. That is the kind of training he gave to me. But that suddenly stopped when I entered secondary school. And my Form 2, he called me. And he called me in the dead of the night around 2 a.m. And that was around December area time. Then he has special cane for me, and he used to buy them in bundles. And sometimes, so he took all the bundles and then the broken ones, the unused ones, gave them to me. And then I was looking and said, now you are growing fast, and you are growing biceps. I can no longer use the cane. Now your ears are down, they're no longer up, so you can listen. So I can no longer use physical means on you. Now I can talk to you, and you can hear me. And the other question that he asked me said, "Who was my girlfriend?" And I got this man is looking for trouble, he's looking for trouble so that he would flog me again. He said, "No, no, no, sit down, my child, sit down." I was afraid at the same time, surprised. And then he said, look, when you were just like an animal, and I tried to talk to you, your mom tried to talk to you, you don't listen, you are playful. That's why I did what I did to you, so that you will know that as he used both means. As he was physical, he was also talking. He would talk end long, give us storylines, tell us storylines of things that will happen. Those who follow the path of discipline, how they end up. Those who don't follow the path of the other path, how they ended up. And so he took me out and he told me, he said, I should look into the sky. Do I see the farthest of the stars, stars in the sky? And I said, yes. He said, I can be like that star, but I am the greatest impediment to myself. And I said, how? He said, look, once you are born into the world, everything around you will constitute impediment, but the greatest impediment to you is yourself. Only when you are distracted will you be distracted. Don't look at those eating a chicken today, those wearing suits today. Wear your patch knicker. Focus. That is why we have in despair. So, and then my mother will call me and explain to me, your dad does not hate you. He wants the best for you. So my mom's succor and my dad's rashness and wisdom, used both hot and cold, beat me into pattern. And then when I got the message, eventually I wrote a poem to touch his star. And it's a very powerful poem. Maybe later I can bring it on later. Then along the line, in life, I've met with very difficult people and worked with the most difficult people that people run away from. One of them is Emiko Achimomo, Naiwo Saha, CS Momo, Jimona, Bidapobe. These are people who are disciplinarian in all there, and people run away from them, but I worked successfully with them. Without complaining. And that's because of the discipline I've received from my dad. In fact, I remember from two people I gathered the way to ideology. From Emiko Achimomo trained me, was the first person to train me on African ideology. He had an ideology he developed, Jin Dadi Jama, and another one he wrote, Whose Democracy Should Africa Observe? Then I got training about Egyptology, how we can draw from our spirituality. Ogudawale trained me on self-relianceism. Mama and SB Oluwale, Sophie Oluwale, she died at the age of 83. They will almost read African philosophy to me like a child. Even though her own children were there, she saw that promise in me, and then she would teach me. So CS Mama and Sophie Oluwale trained me on African philosophy, and Emiko Achimomo, African political philosophy, political thought. Ogudawale on self-relianceism. TDP Bar, then now on metaphysics. So then my journey to Pan-Africanism actually started with Professor Akin Bidapobe, who took me to Naiwo Saha and Fela Nicola Pokuchi. So I can name them on and on and on and on. So with my training, both from dad, from school, from town and gown, teaching for me is no longer that I'm teaching, it's a crusade for me. Every subject I'm given to, I will bring Africanism into it. I will try to see how relevant it is to the African students. And so teaching is not that I'm teaching, it's a crusade for me. And thanks to all of these people, both male and female.
Yes.
I see where your students, because I go to Facebook and I see your students, they're just full of praise. You're like a father to them. So
Sure.
whatever you got from your dad, you're sharing with them. You're such a mentor to them.
Sure.
And if you go and see some of the comments you saw from students.
I have to say something about Dr. Chubos here.
You're like a father to them,
Sure.
So that's excellent. You were going to say?
Yeah, we're going to say something about Dr. Chidos here. I have no doubt in my mind that he's an excellent father, because somebody who espouses African traditional spiritual behavior, as he does, you can only surmise or conclude in your mind that this person is of excellent character when it comes to his nucleus family. I've met a lot of guys and I've talked to a lot of people. I haven't met Dr. Chides yet personally, but hopefully, when we sojourn to Nigeria, we'll get to meet. And I must tell you, I've talked to a lot of Africanists, Pan-Africanists. I've talked to a lot of people that are grounded in culture and all that kind of stuff. I've never quite spoken to anybody like you, at least in my experience. I'm sure that people that vibrate at even a higher level in terms of those people that mentored you, right? Those people that brought you in and kind of gave you the worldview that you have right now and have given you understanding. I've read a lot of books about Pan-Africanism. I understand some of the heroes of Pan-Africanism. I always consider myself as somebody who has what we call in Chiism, Nkomi, a deep thinker. My father always says, look beyond the microscope. Don't take anything as face value. Just because this is how they explained it, and it's a generally accepted principle by everybody, that doesn't mean that that's how it really is. Find a way to make an argument out of the norm. It is if you have the ability to make an argument, decipher the norm, and prove that the norm should not be what it is. It puts you in the minority, but it elevates you away from everybody else and puts you on the pedestal where when you speak, they listen. And the reason why they listen is because what you say is something that has never been heard before. The sense that you make is an angle of reasoning that people have never thought about. It separates you from everybody else. And I've listened to you, and I really, truly put you on that level of somebody that has Nkomi. And I'm very proud, and I'm sure that I speak for Dr. Osiniri, that you're part of what we do. And we hope that as we continue to move on, we will get many more like you.
He's so right, and that's one of the things I love about our spirituality is it's very pragmatic. Yes. It's based on real things. We see God as a source of inspiration. Okay, but we don't, and the stories we tell are not stories that you can't prove. These are actual things that happened in our history. You don't have to go and try and say, did it happen? Did it happen? These are real. One of the things I love about Igbo fathers that I know is, the making sure that every child who's 10 years old is part of Uke.
Yeah.
Age grade. You have to, I remember my village, if you're 10 years old, you're part of an Uke. And whether you like it or not, you go. These are 10-year-olds that organize their own meetings. They are taught that they are the future of the community. So they must learn the mores of the land, the laws of the land from age 10. And those fathers would take those children by the hand, some of them kicking and screaming, but it doesn't matter. You're part of a. You're not going to be the one to embarrass this family. So you go and learn what they're learning so that you'll be a participant in the future of the community. So it's always amusing to me to see these little tiny people all marching to a meeting. And you wonder, what are they learning? But then, when I got older, I had to be a part of Anuki. But it's an essential part of who we are. Now, I've got to admit that a lot of those things, because many of these fathers have moved abroad, and they've adopted the cultures of others. They're not applying those things, and they don't understand how important those traditional things are in shaping the mind, in shaping your worldview. We try instead to get our children to fit in with the new world, as opposed to reminding them from whence they came. I said earlier, whose child are you? Who are we? You're not you can certainly adapt to certain things, but certain ways of doing things you got to keep. You know, you have children now, you tell them things, you got a 14-year-old child talking back to his mother, slapping his mother around, cursing her out. Oh my, I wish you would. I wish I never had any of my kids, even as adults right now, disrespect me. Because first of all, I won't tolerate it. I pick my own battles. I don't fight over everything. You know, sometimes I let the kids get away with thinking that they're so smart. And I say, wow, you know all this stuff. All right, that's cool. You know, but I don't fight over everything. But you don't disrespect me. Once you get to that point, you're so grown. That's why I cut it. Because I'm still a Nigerian woman, and we don't disrespect our elders like that. We just don't do it. I don't care what you've achieved. You remember whose child you are. You know, and I know the fathers, the mothers stress it, but the fathers really, and when they ask you, they're looking at your dad. Who's your dad? Who's your father? He's not doing his job. You know, but here kids are rude. I went to the bank. This young man walked through the door, just closed the door in front of me, didn't even hold it for me to go through. And I was like, oh my God, where did you learn that? Whose child are you? You know, he didn't think nothing about, here I am an elder. He just walked through the bank door and just let it slam in my face. It wasn't until I started lecturing, my little Nigerian came out of me. I mean, I went, and I was speaking in Igbo. I said, Bonya,
yep.
When I was done, he would say, ma'am, I'm sorry. I said, no, we don't act like that. My God, who raised you? You know, so fathers are important, and more fathers should realize how important they are in a child's life. And it's not about money. It's not about being rich, because those village fathers, they're not rich. They're rich spiritually and mentally. And that's why when a lot of these young children, when they come to the US or wherever they go, they excel.
Yeah.
I mean, the most educated Americans are from Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I saw the video showing Nigerians as the wealthiest. Who do you think? Many of them came from the village.
Yeah.
Many of them don't have educated fathers or mothers. But it's impressed upon them. You will not embarrass this family. My grandfather told my dad, I didn't send you to school so you can learn to be like the white man. I sent you to school so that you will make us proud. Use your knowledge and make us proud. Let me use you and show off. So you grew up knowing that you have to get an education. And my dad made it clear to me when I was at University of North Alabama. You mess up, you coming home. There's no conversation. I had to be on the dean's list. The first year I thought he'll ship me home because I didn't make the dean's list. But from then on, after that threat, I understood you don't fool around here. You stay on that dean's list. That's all he was interested. I'm sending you to school to make me proud. Don't go there and waste my money and waste my time. And Dad was a wonderful provider. I never lacked anything.
He was excellent.
Tuition, my food. I had my meal ticket all the way for a whole year. I mean, I needed nothing. I needed nothing. Dad provided of course, with Mom's help. They provided. So if you want your child to be successful, don't just leave it up to the child. If you can do something, if you can help, you don't even have to help with money. You don't even have to help with money. You can just help with your kind words.
Encouragement.
Yeah. Be there.
Mm-hmm. Be present.
Be present.
Yeah.
I did a competition a writing competition. My dad, he stood there. He didn't write it for me, but he kept making me think. What are you trying to say? Say what you mean and mean what you say. You know, all that stuff. By the time I was done with that paper and submitted it, they gave me a 0. They gave me a 0. Why? It was too good, they said. You couldn't have written it. But
I experienced that too.
You remember that? I wrote it because Dad will make sure that when you write, you wrote like a professor.
I remember. I experienced that.
Believe it. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And I did, but they couldn't believe it because Dad, Dad was there to make sure that I wrote it properly. He did not write it for me, but the way he explained it, I still was a child, so I still wrote it as a child. But it was too sophisticated to them. A child shouldn't write like that. But it was a child's thought. But given the way Dad writes and the way he taught us, he had some words that they didn't think children should know. Yudi, you were about to say something.
No, I was saying the same thing. When I was at DeVry University, I wrote a paper and I got an F for it. So I appealed it. And so they brought a panel of instructors. I appealed it because you have a right to appeal. If you don't agree with your grade. Yes. So I appealed it and I had to appear in front of them. And the paper was about Stalingrad. World War II. You know me, I'm World War II expert.
Yes.
I've been an expert since I was 12 years old. So I put in all the generals, the commanders, the battle plans, everything. I wrote this paper, turned it in. The lady told me that I plagiarized it. There's no way that I would have known anything about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was from Nigeria. So I had to appear in front of them and without looking at any paper, started from the beginning to the end. I walked out of there with an A+.
I know.
He wrote it. I walked out of there with an A. As a matter of fact, I had facts that even the professor herself didn't know.
Yeah.
But she had no idea that I've been in this World War II thing since from the comic books in the early 70s all the way out till I came here. I was a master when it came to that kind of stuff. But one thing I wanted to say, when we talk about emancipation of the African mind, and we talk about all that kind of stuff, I think one thing that most people spend time talking about is what happened to Africa. And sometimes the conversation ends there. Oh, they came, they took us, they enslaved us, they came, the colonizers, they enslaved us, they made us, now we're wearing their clothes, we're speaking their language, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, those are, it's almost like prerequisite to the fight, to the knowledge, things that you need to know before you really embark on the actual fight, the battle. And one thing that we don't spend a lot of time on is doing a comparative analysis. What we talk about that we need as Africans, what we feel we need Africans to do to really rise up and take control of our own destiny and plot a productive path for our future. Are other cultures doing the same thing? Did other cultures do the same thing? Are the paths different? What is it that we're asking or talking about that other cultures are not talking about or didn't talk about? How different is what it is that we're talking about from what they're doing? You kind of find out that we're not asking for anything different than any other culture is doing. It's the same thing. The right to chart your own course as a people. I believe that every tribe, every community, every culture has the right to worship God in the way they understand best without bitterness, regardless of your creed or your culture. Because Europeans do the same thing. They're asking for the same thing. The Chinese are asking for the same thing. The Indians are asking for the same thing. All human cultures are asking for the same thing. Why is it that when the African is asking for the same thing, it's a problem? What are we asking for that they are not doing? The right to control our own economy. Don't they have a right to control their own economy? Why is it that when we ask to control our own economy, it's a problem? If we're asked to control our own spirituality or involve ourselves in our own primordial core, why is it a problem? Why does the Chinese have the right to be Confucius or Buddhist or Taoist? Why does the Hindu have the right to be Hindu or Sikhist? Why does the Japanese have the right to their traditional religion? Why do other human communities outside of the continent of Africa have the right to their primordial religion? Why is it a problem when we as Africans ask the same questions? Don't we have the right to participate in human civilization, be part of human history? Why is Africa embracing technology a problem when other cultures are embracing it? Why is Africa having a problem embracing a spirituality when other cultures embrace their spirituality? Why do Africans have a right to invest and live their traditional or cultural way of doing things? Why do other cultures have the right to do it? Why does the Indian have a right to be Indian? Why does the Chinese have a right to be Chinese? The French have a right to be French, the German, blah, blah, blah. Why is it a problem that the African is trying to do the same thing? Now, these questions are not for the white folks to answer or for the Arab to answer or ask, actually. These are questions that we, as people of African ancestry, should ask. What is wrong wanting the same thing they have? Is it our right? Are we asking for something that other human communities don't already have or are asking for? Why does Black lives not matter? Why does the Indian life, the white life, the Japanese life, the Korean life, why does it have to matter? But ours doesn't matter. These are not all questions that we have that is directed at them. These are questions that should be directed at us. We're our own worst enemy now. I don't think there's any school of thought in Africa that doesn't understand what happened to Africa. There's no African that will come out and tell you, as long as they got any kind of scholarship, unless they're just straight up in the village. I've never seen the world except going to the farm in the village, never read a book, never saw a TV show or anything. Everybody knew that Africa was colonized by the French, the Portuguese, the British. Everybody knew. The African American knows that they were enslaved. Africans in the Caribbean know that they were enslaved. We know what happened to us, but why is it difficult for us to ask these questions and understand that we're not asking for anything that any other world community is not doing? Being independent is your right as a human being, is your right as a community. Speaking your own language is your right as a human being, your right as a community, having your own religion, having your own economic system, your own social system, your own political system, your own legal system. All human systems are products of religion. If other cultures have a right to their religion so that they could develop these human systems without being imperialist, why shouldn't the African do the same thing? Why should I want to have a system that has nothing to do with my history and my culture and my tradition and my primordial core? Why do I want to be European?
Look what I've got for you.
I didn't know I was this handsome. What you think, y'all?
This is from your bonus son. This is from your bonus son.
Oh, okay.
Buddy. I said, okay, I'm going to post that while you're talking. And this is what Buddy wants you to know. And that is so thoughtful. She says, there is too much to say about this amazing pioneer of African thought. Not only is he a dedicated journeyman of spiritual freedom, but he's also a caring father, husband, and family man. Mr. Yudi, I can't say enough about how much you mean to me. Oh, are you crying yet?
Yeah, I mean, I love them all, man. You have to understand, they came into my life. You know, Buddy's 29 years old. When he came into my life, he was 14. You know, my wife has been together for 14 years now. We've been together for a long time. So when they came into my life, they were kids, and then his younger siblings and all that. And you know, I was there really in the household here, you know, and I treated them, you know, treated them the way I treated Emeka, my own son. I don't see any difference. Only difference is the blood connection. But to me, it is my responsibility to, you know, share my knowledge about what it means to be an African, you know, with them and be part of that, you know, core for them. And all of them, all three boys, they're all chaists. You know, they see the world the way we do. They understand their responsibility, you know, and what it is that they have to do. They understand that it's their future. They have to fight for it. You know, they understand that they shouldn't feel inferior about anything that is African, because we are the first cause. We were before anybody else.
I have another one for you.
Okay, hook me up then.
From your second bonus son.
Oh, okay.
From Maynard, he says, "Happy Father's Day, Mr. Yudi. You willingly took me in as one of your own, and I am grateful. Your wise words stay with me, and I am blessed to have another father figure in my life. There's a lot of ways stepfather relationships could have gone, and I couldn't have written it better. The father you are really shows in how you raised Emeka. He's on track to being a great man, just like his father." Oh, oh, that is so beautiful.
You know what's worse than anything else in the world? Seeing me cry in public, and I refuse to do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna hold it together. I just look forward to all the love I'm gonna get once I get off this show.
You know, the thing that is good about being a parent is, or the thing that we should know being parents is, you're not a good parent just because you're there. You're a good parent because of what you add to the lives of the people that you are living with. You know, you cannot demand respect. You have to earn respect.
Yeah,
you have to earn it. You can't say, "I'm the dad." You know, "I'm the dad." That's just a word. You know, it doesn't mean anything if you're not using that. That's a powerful role given to you by Chineke. Chineke is not the one sitting there raising these children. You are. That is your role. That's how you carry out Chineke's work, by raising the children you bring forth. You cannot have expectations of them when you're not there to, you know, to guide them. You've got to be there, and they see how you interact with them, how you do for them, and they emulate that.
And I got to say one thing real quick. And I know it's not Mother's Day and all that stuff, but I have to say something about my wife.
Yes.
I got to calm down before I say it. My wife has just loved me through everything. Really. She is my heart. You know, she's my world. She means everything to me. She doesn't judge. She doesn't judge me at all. We came from two opposite backgrounds, culturally speaking, in terms of she being a Christian and me being a chaste and all that. And I find that in my relationship, it's never been a conflict. It's never been a conflict in my life. It's never stopped me from being what I feel that I need to be, of what I am. She's never interfered, judged me in any way. As a matter of fact, she's one of my biggest supporters, because she understands what happened to Africa. She understands why we do what we do, Dr. Owa Onyon Hosimiri. She understands it all the way and never judges, always there, never interferes. Whatever I say, in line with what it is we're trying to do, she's all there. And I just want to tell my wife, man, as a husband and as a father, I love you. You mean everything to me. Without you right now, I couldn't do it. It is your love and your support that keeps me going. And I hope that when I'm so old that I can't work anymore, you'll be sitting right there with me while we're still doing Chiism live.
Yeah, so it is. And listen,
You
this
know what
has
I'm
been a
saying?
fantastic show. Happy Father's Day and thank you for all those who posted something that we could read on behalf of these fathers. Akachi, thank you for sharing your dad and your experience.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your son with us, even for a moment. It's good to know to see that there's another Teodosia on the way. Thank you.
There you go.
And happy birthday to everyone. Happy birthday to all the fathers who are on this show today, those who were not, those who are still with us, those who are no longer with us. I wish you all the best until we see next Sunday. Thank you all for being here. And dads, thank you for all that you do. And so it is. Yagazie. And so it is. Okay.
Ciao. Devo.
Anyị na-eto Chineke onye kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke eke kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke onye kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke eke kere ụwa. Maka ịhụma niile o mere anyị. Anyị ekele Chineke. Anyị ekele onye kere ụwa maka ihe o mere anyị.